Hey there guys, John here, and as you guys know, I have a thing for games that didn't get enough attention during their initial release, that for whatever reason, maybe it was bad marketing, maybe the gameplay balance was just a little off, or just any number of things. They just didn't get a lot of attention, and one of those games is a little NES game called Metal Storm. Now, if you've never heard of Metal Storm, this is actually one of the most advanced games graphically on the entire NES. It's really, really impressive. It was released really late in the NES's life cycle, kind of when everybody else had already transitioned to the Super Nintendo, or was transitioning to the Super Nintendo anyway. And, you know, for me, growing up, I actually didn't get a Super Nintendo until it was already a couple years old. I was on the NES, you know, way past when the Super Nintendo was, like, new and cool. Which is actually why I happen to know a lot of the NES games that I do, because a lot of the really good software for a system usually comes out when the next one is about to release. Like really late in the life cycle, developers know what they can do with the system, they know what it's capable of, they know what its limits are. But the problem with these late stage releases is that, you know what, they're super rare because nobody really bought them, they didn't have huge print runs, and a new copy of Metal Storm goes for quite a bit on eBay, and I'll flash just some current eBay prices up there right now. But the nice thing is that Retro-Bit actually just released basically a repro of the game, but it's actually endorsed by Irem, who are the original developers of the game. And if you're not familiar with Irem, I will do another video on Irem sometime, because Irem is an absolutely fantastic company. They made some of the absolute best games on the NES, and you know, they're just a great company. But this is a officially sanctioned reproduction version of the game by Irem that Retro-Bit has made and has made available. And you know, I've had this thing on pre-order for a while, and I was actually able to pre-order the collector's edition, which you can see is a lot bigger than a normal NES box, and there's a lot of stuff in here, and it's a true collector's edition. And you can kind of see on the back there's some other stuff. We're gonna get into this thing. We're gonna see what exactly they put into this collector's edition beyond just an NES game and box that would make this so big. So here we go. Alright, so this is the Metal Storm Collector's Edition. It's pretty cool. Obviously, this is the size of my hand, and it is a pretty big box. You know, you've got the little Irem logo on the top there, which is pretty cool. It's officially sanctioned by Irem. I'll probably talk about that a little bit later. Retro-Bit's logo is down here. You know, there are the people that made it, so you know, that's obviously why that's there. You got your M308 gunner here on this side and this side, which is the main character in the game, and then obviously a little bit of information about the box set collector's edition back here, and then you got the Japanese logo for the game on this other side with the Irem and the Retro-Bit. And it is worth noting, this is the Japanese version of the game, not the American version. And the American version of the game, there are a couple little minor differences, but nothing big. And it is worth noting, any gameplay that you see in this video will be taken from this cartridge. Most of you guys know I don't keep things sealed. Just not how I do things. I like to open things and play them and you know, use them. But anyway, so that's the outside of the box, and so this just comes right off here like this. So anyway, so this is the front, and you can see it's got that nice like metallic shine to it, this box, and just is a real nice Metal Storm Collector's Edition. And on the side it just says M308. It says that on the other side as well. And this is just a lift-off box top, so it lifts off, and there we go. And ooh, you can tell this is premium, because they've even got like this little paper here that's like covering it, just to keep it safe. I don't know, it just feels really nice. And then we take this off and put that right there. And we've got this cool little statue guy. You know, and I'll do that right there because I know my camera's a little bit of an angle. But you can see you got this little statue here, and I'm gonna try to take him out. So there he is. There's your little M308 gunner statue, again, size of my hand. So this is actually relatively nice, nice size for something like this. Now this is a shelf piece. I don't know. I may not take this out of the thing, but it's actually got a really cool stand in there. It says M308 in there. I don't know if you can see that right there. And it just looks really cool. You know, it says Metal Storm Collector's Edition, has all the logos and stuff, has the kind of a little bit of history of the game right here. It's not actually the story of the game. And pretty cool. So this is you know, obviously one of the big draws of getting that collector's edition, which, by the way, only ends up being around $30 more than the standard edition would be. So in my opinion, totally worth it, because we haven't even gotten to the actual standard edition yet. We're still at all the extra stuff for the $30. So this is pretty cool. So moving on, we also get a little Metal Storm pin here, and you know, I'm not a big pin guy. I don't really have a place for them. I probably should. I'll probably figure that out one of these days, and maybe this is one of the reasons that I should. But you can see this is actually a pretty big pin. This is pretty hefty. You know, they didn't really chintz out on this, and it's pretty nice. And now we're gonna that's it for this little extras portion. So now I'm gonna take this off, and in there, ooh, we got a little envelope here to open. Let's see what's in it first. And nope, there's the game itself. We'll set that aside for a second. Let's see what's in the envelope. Always read the card first. When you get something, always read the card first. It's just nice. It's just the nice way to do it. Okay. All right, so we got a Metal Storm postcard, I guess. It's not really a postcard. It's like postcard size, which is pretty cool. But the back, you know, actually has Metal Storm on it, so it's just some artwork. This might be a nice little thing to frame. I think it would look pretty cool on a wall, and it's got those little gold stars on there. I don't know if you can see them, but those are actually metallic and sparkly, so that's kind of fun. And then you got another one here too. And I got something else here. I'll talk about that in a second. And it looks like, so here's this other card, which looks great, and it may not show up on camera, but it looks like there's a little piece of tape up here on this part of the card, and I'm not quite sure why. Yeah, there's definitely some tape or something up there. Oh yeah, look, you can see it on the back here too. I have a feeling that's probably not supposed to be there. I don't know why it would be. It's definitely not part of the artwork, and I could peel it off. Let me see if I can peel it off real quick. No, I'm not gonna mess with it. It's got some kind. It's almost like a rubberized tape. I don't know. Maybe that is intentional. I don't know. I don't think anybody would really realize it if they were looking at it just at a glance. But that is a little bit annoying that that's that way. And there's actually a little scuffing on this artwork card too. So you know, these collector's editions, you know, they get assembled. I think there were 3,000 of this particular version made, and you know. Yeah, it's a lot of pieces to get together, right? Like, if they all came out flawless, you know, I feel like that would be a little bit of an unreasonable expectation. So a little thing like this doesn't bother me, but it is worth noting. It does have that little piece of tape there, which is just kind of weird. And then we've got our certificate of authenticity, and this is collector's edition number 987 out of 3,000. So yeah, so there was a limited production of 3,000 of these collector's editions, and we got the Galactic Blue model, which we haven't seen yet. Anyway, so there's our certificate of authenticity, so we know this is the real deal. And now let's get to the good stuff. There we go. Now, it is worth noting, I'm noticing something right away. This material, again, it's something that I noticed right away when I pulled it out, is definitely not the same material that an original NES box would have. You can see it's pretty glossy there. I can reflect my light off of it. A normal NES box would not do that. Now, I assume, because, you know, Retro-Bit's been doing this for a while, I assume that is an intentional thing, because, you know, it's all like reflective and silver and spacey and stuff. You know, and that's something that they were probably trying to do on purpose with this collector's edition, you know, because all this other stuff has been lots of foil and lots of reflections and that sort of stuff as well. But it is something that's worth noting. If that's important to you, you know, in getting a reproduction version of a game, which again, it's a repro, you're never going to try to pass it off as the real thing anyway. It's more for the collector's value and really just because you love something that much, right? You know, it is not the original box material that they would have used back in the day. And you know, it is the right size for an NES box, though. I mean, I've handled enough of these things, I can tell it's definitely the right size. The dimensions are correct. They did a great job with it. But that is something that's just worth noting, right? You got just the side there, just says Metal Storm. It says Metal Storm on that side with a little foil IRM up there. On the top, you've got the Japanese logo. The bottom is a traditional fold that you would find on an NES cartridge box, which is great. And then you've got this back, because this actually talks about how it's a commemorative edition of the game. So this is something that's new, which is, again, I love it because, you know, it makes it a unique thing. And, you know, I love artwork and I love manuals and I love all this other stuff. So, you know, that's pretty cool. And yeah, so that's kind of the outside of the box. So let's go ahead and open it and see what happens. And I can already tell I'm gonna have some trouble opening this, so I'm gonna try to open it here. Yeah, it's not coming. So none of you guys have ever had a box, an NES box that you've tried to open, or really any kind of video game box, and you try to open it and you pull this thing out and then you get that weird stupid crease that happens in the middle. I'm pretty sure everybody knows what I'm talking about because it's happened to all of us. Well, in your collector's editions and stuff like this, you really don't want to get that crease. So there is a way to get that out without it, because what happens is there's these little tabs on the side that fold down, and I'll point them out once I have it open. And they kind of lock into these little slits right here in the top of the box. And so they're basically there just to keep it closed and keep it nice. Problem is, when you try to open it, they don't release correctly, and then you end up bending the box. So you can get yourself, you can actually do this with a butter knife if you're super careful. You don't want to cut your box, but I always use a spudger. This is actually what I use for making repros and actually removing chips off of circuit boards. But this works great for opening boxes as well. And what you got to do is you got to stick it in this little up under that little flap in there. And it's gonna be hard to see on my camera. And then you just kind of do this right here and pull it towards it as you pull up. You gotta be careful because you can actually end up bending your box. But you get it under that flap right there and get your finger under and you pull up, and you can see I was able to get it up without bending that. And then I'm gonna have to do the same thing over here, I'm sure. And there we go. So I actually got it open, and learned from my mistake. I pulled a little too quick, and that edge right there is now just a little bit, and it's gonna be hard to see in the light that I have. But that edge right there, you can kind of see it's just a teeny bit chewed now. It's not a big deal. It's not a lot. You probably would never notice it if you weren't, you know, me, because I knew that I did it. And then there's a little bitty teeny tiny crease right here in the box as well, and I might be able to get the light to reflect that. Looks like we got a really stuffed, I'm gonna try not to bend this back too much, but we got a really stuffed inside here. And I'm gonna pull the game out first. It's in like plastic wrap, so that's probably part of what the bulk is. And that plastic wrap's probably not going back in there. And so let's take the game out first. You got your game. So here it is, the Galactic Blue Metal Storm. And this is a really glossy label. This particular repro, if you get it, is all about that shimmer and shine. So just so you know, it might blind you when you pull it out of the box, but yeah, there's a real glossy label on here. It looks great, contrast is great, it's really good looking label. I am noticing that on this particular cartridge, again, I like stuff that has a story to it, and doesn't really bother me, but it is something worth noting. And it may be too small to even show up on the camera, I don't know, but there is a little like diagonal scratch right here, kind of in this little pull tab part where you would pull it out of the system. Now I'm going to use this as a player cart. I'm probably going to speed run on it, so it's going to get a lot more scratches, you know, at the end of the day, I'm sure. But for anybody that likes their stuff like completely pristine when they pull it out, just know this is not actually pristine. This has this little scratch right here. And then you've got just your little Retro-Bit with the M308 gunner sticker right there on the back. And that's kind of the cartridge, which is pretty cool. Let's check out what else is in the box. So this is a stuffed box. This thing is fat, which is awesome. So let's look at the part that I'm really excited about first. Because it looks like we got a poster there. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to pull that all the way out, but you know what, let's just go ahead and unfold it and kind of look a little bit at what it would look like. can see it says Metal Storm. And you know, and I'm sure that's a big poster. And again, this sucker is like, look at that gloss. It's shiny. It's real shiny. But again, that seems to be the theme of the repro, right? And so now here's the instruction booklet. This is really cool. I actually really like this instruction booklet, especially for a repro. Again, this feels like quality. Like, this feels like it's really, really nice. It's really well put together. But again, one more note, this is not the original paper that an instruction manual would have been done on, just because this is like a cardstock, this cover right here, and you can hear that. That's a little thick. And then obviously the back cover is also on the cardstock, and you got the Metal Storm logo here. And then you've got this really cool full color manual here. It's got the story. I'm not going to go through this whole thing page by page, but just flip through it so you guys can see. And then you got the whole thing back here. That's cool. You got the whole thing back here in Japanese as well, since I guess this is the Japanese version of the game, so why not, right? So that's really awesome, and I actually really like that. You know, I love my Famicom, and I love, you know, Japanese stuff anyway, so for me, this is actually a pretty cool bonus. And that's pretty much it. So there you go, little jump cut there, just to make sure you guys can see it all properly. But that is all the stuff that you would get in this Metal Storm Collector's Edition. So without further ado, let's wrap this up. So that was the Metal Storm Collector's Edition, and I gotta say, Retro-Bit did an absolutely fantastic job on this product. Other than those, a couple of little things that I did point out during the unboxing. It is actually a really, really close replica to what an actual NES release would have been, and there's some really cool extras in there as well. I know Retro-Bit gets a bad rap sometimes, just because some of their other products, you know, I feel like some people like them or some people don't like them. You know, you love them or hate them. But in this case, I feel like they did like a really, really good job with this, and I'm super, super happy with my purchase. If it's something that you're interested in picking up for yourself, there are a few of them still available. I got mine from Castlemania Games, and from what I understand, Limited Run Games also did a batch of these that is now sold out. But you can still get them at Castlemania Games. There are still some left, but it is a limited print run, so I think once they're gone, they're gone. Like, you're not going to be able to get them anymore. And I'll put the link down below in the description for anybody that's interested, just in case you want to go pick one up for yourself. But like I said, super quality release. Really happy with it. And I just wanted to do this live and kind of do this unboxing because I love Metal Storm, and it is an absolutely fantastic game. So that's about it from me, but thank you guys for joining me. This was a lot of fun. And, you know, like, comment, subscribe, do all that YouTube stuff, and I will see you guys next time.